Hi, and welcome back to the Shifting Schools podcast. My name is Trisha Friedman, and our mini-series special continues, focusing on the power of play. We've got an incredible guest lined up for you this week. This is a playspert, somebody who is a real expert in play and who manages to bring the power of play into corporate workspaces and reminds us that play's not just for young learners, it's for adult learners too. So this episode is going to take you into a little bit of a deep dive in how you as an adult learner might better incorporate play in your day-to-day life and why you might want to do that if you're not doing so already. Our special guest is Courtney McLeod. You'll be able to learn all about her coaching and workshop opportunities by heading over to the show notes. I think you're going to be inspired to think about the benefits of play for your team as well as for your students. Before we are joined by Courtney, we've got a quick word from our show sponsor.
Discover the power of acknowledgement with Lebra. In a world where every staff member's dedication shapes the future, recognizing their efforts becomes our mission. Lebra transforms your school into a place where achievements, big and small, are celebrated daily, creating a ripple effect of motivation and pride. Join the recognition revolution with Lebra, where every achievement is a cause for celebration. For more information and a free demo, contact me at jeff@shiftingschools.com today. Librarians, meet MackinVision, the future of library management. With a student-centered design, MackinVision's intuitive interface and seamless navigation ensures that your students find the information they need quickly and effortlessly. Discover how MackinVision can transform your school at mackin.com/MackinVision.
And with that, please welcome to the Shifting Schools podcast, Courtney McLeod. I am very excited to be speaking with you today. You bring a really unique perspective to our summer-long mini-series on the power of play. And I'd love to kick things off by asking you to share. I'm sure there are many myths that you break down in the work that you do, but maybe just to pick out one of them a myth that you seek to correct through the work that you do as an executive coach and as a self-proclaimed playspert. I love that title. That's beautiful.
Awesome. Yeah. As you said, there are quite a few myths, but I would say that the biggest myth that I try to correct through the work that I do is definitely the myth around play being something that's for kids. It is adults. We are meant to be serious and we have responsibilities. Play is a waste of time. It's not something for us. It's not productive. It's for kids. So I definitely, through the work that I do, try to correct that because it is so beneficial for people of all ages. And an example of that myth really coming to life is before the pandemic, I used to host an annual celebration extravaganza. And this was for an annual event for women to come together to celebrate themselves and each other, because I don't think that we do that enough. And what we do there is we would spray each other with champagne like we're a professional sports team. Like when a hockey team wins the Stanley Cup and they go in their dressing room and they're spraying each other and they're just the joy in the room. We did that in my backyard. So over the years, hundreds of women came together to do that. But we would have shower caps because you got to protect the hair and safety goggles. And then I would have other elements that were playful, like instead of a red carpet, we had a giant pink bubble wrap runway. Ooh. And I had in the front lawn a giant inflatable Velcro wall you put on this big, heavy Velcro suit and you tried to jump as high as you could to stick to the wall to see how high you could get. And neighbors and people would walk by and see balloons and all of this and just assume, so which of your kids whose birthday is it? Assuming it was a child's celebration, a birthday party. And you should have seen the look on their faces when I said, nope, this is fully for women and adults to celebrate ourselves.
I love that. And I never realized that you could even get pink bubble wrap.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds very niche. Is there a supplier for like themed bubble wrap out there that we don't know anything about?
There totally is. I have a person that, and it comes in it's a huge wrap. It's a huge one. And I love it. And I don't feel right if I don't have some on hand.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that sounds like a wonderful event. And I love that because you shouldn't have to win the Super Bowl in order to feel like you can celebrate with your friends. Mm-hmm. That's really beautiful. I love that. And we don't celebrate maybe the lesser known milestones enough. That's a really great provocation, I think, for the summer. Like, how can you build in like mini celebrations that aren't necessarily like a Hallmark card moment? I've just recently been doing a good deal of gardening with my wife, and you have me thinking like maybe we're going to mark like a month since we planted some seeds, like seeing what's going on as their 1 month birthday.
Yeah.
I might have to get that contact for the pink bubble wrap. Thank you for that.
I love that.
Courtney, the research about play, you're right. It's inclusive. It's got benefits for all of us at all ages. And yet we also know that people are not getting enough play. What would you like to see more of when it comes to making play more accessible?
That's such a fantastic question. And I would love to see the usage of play dialed up across all ages in all facets of life. So I'd love to see more play in the education system, JK all the way to post-secondary. So not just at recess, but bring it more into the classroom. Because when kids are able to take material but play with it and really make it more experiential, it stays with you longer and it really enhances learning. I'd love to see it more in the workplace. I'd love for corporations to have recess. Could you imagine a bell goes off and everyone knows, okay, it's time to have a break, and having a whole bunch of play options so that people can tap into their type of play that they really enjoy, that resonates with them, and to do it with coworkers. That just enhances the relationships and bonds among people when you're able to have an environment where you can play together. And then in people in their personal lives as well. I think that would be amazing. And play is accessible. It doesn't have to cost money. For example, you can just bring a more playful mindset to your day and get creative. I can do laundry in a way that's serious like an adult, but I like to roll up my socks in balls and pull out my drawer and take shots like I'm hitting buzzer beaters and to see how many I can get. And I really think that if, as a society, we talked more about the research, we did more research on play, and we really talked about the results and how life-changing and how good play is for us and how it is so good for our well-being, and it became a pillar of our health. We know we need to get enough sleep. We know we need a healthy diet. Meditation's good for us. All of those things we know, right? But include play as a key pillar in our health and encourage, and as adults, make it be acceptable and encouraged. And as adults, have us role models so that kids continue to, it's okay. It's not something that just kids do. We all do it. And I think what really puts the exclamation mark on this point is George Bernard Shaw's quote on, "We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing."
Oof. Yeah, that is a really powerful one. And your point about like just being a little bit more playful, even with our chores, I love that. My wife and I we intentionally have a CD player, not a Bluetooth speaker, in our kitchen so that I don't do that thing of, oh, I want to queue up the Spotify playlist. Oh no, there's work email. We've got fun music during like dinner prep time. And I do feel like that makes it a little bit more enjoyable. Your tip on the laundry. Wow, the Caitlin Clark effect is real. Laundry is even amazing now. I love that.
Thank you for tuning in to Shifting Schools. Let's pause our discussion to spotlight Lebra HQ, a breakthrough in using AI to deepen connections within organizations. Imagine an environment where every staff member feels truly seen and valued. This is the heart of Lebra's mission. Lebra transforms how leaders celebrate and recognize the personal and professional milestones of their team members. It's not just about reminders. Lebra's AI dives deeper, offering insight into enhanced team cohesion and promote a culture where support and acknowledgement are paramount. Picture a school where every individual is acknowledged, from work achievements to personal victories, creating a culture of appreciation in just minutes a day. In these challenging times, where the demands on educators have never been higher, Lebra offers a way for school leaders to lead with true empathy and compassion, ensuring every team member feels an integral part of their community's success. Discover how Lebra can revolutionize your school's culture. For a demo, contact me at jeff@shiftingschools.com. Let's build a future where every educator and staff member feels connected and valued. And now, let's get back to our conversation.
So you have me thinking too about what other spaces can do to model this. Like I have been really inspired to see what some public libraries are doing. And I know a number of libraries are starting to have a board game hour. I think that's really great. And they're doing it not just for a certain age group, but looking at that intergenerational play, which I think is so important. And we've been sourcing a lot of our board games just from secondhand stores.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really fun just to see what's available. And I know that for my own family, Codenames is one that we've gotten into, that some board games you need 3 hours to get through. Codenames, if you've got 15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
you can play that game. Again, you have me thinking of what some other spaces can do to make sure like they are modeling. We would like to see more play happening here.
I love that. Those are very simple things that you can do. I love the intergenerational idea of bringing people together to play. It's the sky's the limit, right? If people were more embracing play and knew the importance and wanted to bring people together, people could just get creative and do more of that in multiple spaces. I did a laughter yoga session for a university for students, and just they rated how they felt when they came in and how they felt when they left. And just every single person, whether their mood increased from a 2 to a 9 or even a 7 to an 8, everyone felt better. So just doing those types of things at schools or wherever it may be, but definitely just spreading the joy and the fun of bringing people together.
Yeah, it's fascinating because the neighborhood that I live in, there's a play group for dogs twice a day, 7 in the morning, 7 p.m. at night. And it's fascinating to me that we're realizing like this is so important for our dogs and somehow not for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you've worked with a number of different brands, corporations. What is a hesitation that you see adult learners have about just, again, there's kind of these clues that we have that play is good for us, that it helps for our personal development. And how do you help adult learners navigate through that hesitation?
These are such great questions, by the way. I think the hesitation, and I do see it a lot, that apprehension about fully jumping in and I guess being vulnerable, of allowing themselves into a space that they may not be comfortable in. If as adults you're not used to playing and trying different things, it can be a vulnerable, unknown, uncomfortable space. And especially in the corporate environment where some people I think want to maintain that level of professionalism, especially around their colleagues. So what I try to do is when I go in and work with companies is to start off, there's 4 things I think that help with it. And the first is getting the buy-in. So definitely talking about the research that's been done, what they're going to get out of it. So we're not just doing this for no reason. It can help with productivity, creativity, decrease stress, lower your mood. That's going to help you when you go back to work. I also talk about the importance of creating the optimal environment. It needs everybody to get on the same page in order to do their best to create a supportive, non-judgmental environment. And that includes not only not judging others, but not judging ourselves. So not worrying about, oh my gosh, how are people perceiving me right now? Let that go. No judging and doing our best to create that. And then with that, giving everyone, ourselves, full permission to play. So just giving the permission, signing the permission slip, if you will. And because the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And then lastly, I go first. So if there is things, and sometimes I ask people to, dare I say, even be a little silly. So I've gotten people like corporation and employees to build foam walls and then come up with creative ways to break through the walls. Again, I love my bubble wrap. I've gotten the bubble wrap out and gotten employees to play games and to interact with it. And they get into it. They start jumping on it and they're like, I forgot how much I love it. And I've got them to do laughter yoga, which is essentially engaging in laughter, voluntary laughter, and it can feel super silly. And so I try to model that and be vulnerable and say, I start laughing and show you how to do it, and I feel silly up here. And I've done it many times, but I still feel awkward and silly and all that stuff, but I know it's so good for my health. So I think me modeling that and me showing my vulnerability helps everybody jump on board. And sometimes I even peel the onion a bit more of my vulnerability and share about how play helped pull me out of a hard time after I lost my mom to cancer. It really was a pivotal thing that helped pull me into a better place.
When you talk about different play activities, I also feel like I'm hearing you talk about activities where, hey, it's not a 6-hour field trip to the amusement park. It doesn't have to mean you take the whole weekend. It almost seems like you're talking about shorter interventions. Are there other tools? I love that we've been talking about bubble wrap, but as a play spurt, what are some of the other like materials or your go-to resources that are really helpful? Again, just in, hey, we don't have hours and hours.
Mm-hmm.
We have some time for this, but it's not going to completely reclaim our schedule for the day.
Yeah, some of the things that are easy to do is I mentioned the laughter yoga, of just doing some laughter exercises when we laugh, and we have all of those those good endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and they start flowing. I get people to engage in laughter, but then to also get creative and come up with their own and then present them. So that's an easy one that gets people being creative. I've done things with, if it's virtual, there's a whole bunch of things that you can do too, like where I get people to go and find the most outrageous or strangest thing that you own. And then people come back and then it's a show and tell, and then they show it and then the story. So then you really get to know other people, you get to hear some of their stories, and there's laughter and people are like, what the heck is that? And then they tell their story. So there's so many things. If you just get creative, it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take any money. It doesn't take even a lot of materials. You can do so many different things.
Yeah, I'm wondering if one of the other side benefits is just that community building, relationship building piece that happens when we're playful with one another. Many years ago, I was a part of a team where someone's child had been really into paintball. And we, the adults, were saying, gosh, I wonder what it is that they love so much about this. And we said, should we try it ourselves as like a team building thing? None of us had done it before. it was like the belly laughter. My abs were sore for days. We had a lot of fun. None of us really knew what we were doing. And I really do feel like after that experience, like it did serve as a little bit of a bridge for some other conversations because we had just been so silly. All of us had been a beginner in this context that had no real attachment to our work. Do you feel like some of the partnerships that you have, that's some of the feedback that you receive as well?
100% of people doing things together that they never imagined that they'd be doing that at the beginning of the day. And yeah, you see that camaraderie of look at what we just did. And I find when you challenge or you push people to try things that they never thought they would try, it opens up the realm of what's possible. Because if you think, if I can do that, what else can I do? So I love that aspect of it too. And the fact that doing it with other people that are supporting you just helps build that shared experience and helps deepen connections.
Mackin Educational Resources has once again partnered with us for our summer mini-series. Thank you to Mackin for continuing to be a partner of the Shifting Schools community. Their new product, MackinVision, is the future of library management. Created with your students' need at the forefront, MackinVision offers a user-friendly interface that simplifies navigation, making it easy for students to find what they need. This state-of-the-art system includes features like intuitive browsing, secure multi-level access, multimedia searching, and whole school rostering. Additionally, it has a teacher library portal, aggregated dashboard, live analytics, and centralized reporting. MackinVision is designed to streamline your school's library operations. Learn more about how MackinVision can benefit your school at mackin.com/MackinVision. Schedule your free demonstration and experience the future today.
Courtney, we are in the middle of a mental health crisis at multiple different age levels. I wonder, are some of your clients or companies coming to you also just for anxiety reduction? Is that kind of another entryway into saying, hey, we, like a fictional company here, like we make staplers, but we want to do something that's just going to really help for well-being? Is that one of the reasons that you are partnering with organizations sometimes?
100%. Yeah, mental health is such a big one. The one that I did for one of the universities, that laughter yoga session, was in their budget of around wanting to provide things for students to enhance their mental health, their anxiety, and all of that. Because when we play and we have those things, it is a release. When we start laughing and we're in the moment, there's so many health benefits that we can then fuel our tank and take with us. And it's learning how to do those simple things that we can do on our own time too. So it is learning some playful tools to take forward. But 100% it is being able to combat mental health and use play and fun and laughter as a way, as a strategy for when we're having those moments, to just infuse those into our day.
So for our listeners who you've won them over, they get it. We need to take play more seriously. I wonder if there are journals or books or other podcasts that you would recommend that you're saying this is a really good tool to understand, again, the power of play. I just finished a book that I completely did not anticipate would touch on this theme. It's newish. It's by Trish O'Kane, and it's called Birding for the World. And it's all about kind of her merger of birding, environmental justice, social justice. But she also talks so much about the playfulness that you can get into with community birding, also how play was really a tool for her doing some youth education. And I was just like, wow, like here it is again. I didn't know that this was going to be a resource to get me thinking about the usefulness of play. Do you have a recommendation for listeners who are thinking, yeah, I want to take play more seriously. I want to invest in my learning around it. What might you recommend for them?
There's a book by Dr. Stuart Brown that's on play and talking about the benefits of play. And I also have The Power of Fun by Catherine Price that I'm currently reading. That is good because it just gets you just thinking about what, you find fun, and it takes you through some exercises and things that you can do in order to get clear on what your true fun looks like. And so how you can infuse more of that into your life, because it is, as we've discussed, it's so worth it at any age.
I love that. And that really resonates with, we had another guest out of Yale, Dr. Peg Oliveira, talking about how personal our preferences are for play. It's also a little bit of identity work to really think deeply about, what does play best look like for you? I love those recommendations. Courtney, you touched upon this, quote, virtual play parties. And I love that part of one of them, you said in this party, you explored what the difference between real fun is and just lowercase fun. Can you say more both about what a virtual play party is and what you define as all caps real fun?
I'd love to. The virtual play parties was an excuse to, or an opportunity, I should say, for when it's virtual, you can have people from all around the world coming together. And it was an opportunity to talk about why play is important and those health benefits that you get from it, but also to give people the opportunity to experience those health benefits for themselves. And what, like we just talked about, your version of what you find playful and fun is different than other people. So the play party was really to get people to try different things on. And that's the only way you get to know your preferences, is to try things out. So there were multiple things that we tried out with getting people to, okay, we're going to have a fashion show. But the catch is you need to go and find things in your house that aren't clothing, but could be considered clothing. And so people they came back with like shower curtains, rugs, plungers, like you name it. It was pretty remarkable, the creativity that people brought. And then people were in pairs. And so while one person would model their awesome outfit, the other person would be like, Trisha's wearing the most extravagant shower curtain of the season. And so they would do like work together to put on a fashion show. We'd put music and people would strut. So it was just a way of letting people try that. We did draw a picture of what you really enjoyed playing as a kid, but the catch was you had to draw it with the pen in your mouth and see how good you could get your drawing. And then people would hold up their drawings and we would try to guess what the pictures were. And what else did we do? Oh, I mentioned scavenger hunts where people had to go and find the objects and work together as teams, and really just giving a chance for people to try different things. And then also think about doing some visualization so people could think about what brought you joy when you remember playing as a kid and having that joy, that energized feeling. What were you doing? Who were you with? What were those elements of play and fun? And then think about as an adult. Are you doing those same kind of things? What does play look like for you now? And where could you maybe pull some of those? If you loved art or creating as a kid, are you doing that now? And do you maybe want to try it? And then so the play parties were a way of getting people to realize the importance of being intentional with fun and play, and then creating play plans so that they could then take them and run with them outside of the play parties.
Oh, I love that, because I think the reality is our schedules get busy. For me, if it's not on my Google Calendar, it's not happening. So I love the idea of making a plan. In closing, would you mind sharing with listeners something that this summer you want to make sure is on your personal play plan?
Yes. On my personal play plan is I want to invite the most amazing women that I know to go and play Activate. I don't know if there's an
I don't know what that is.
in your area. It's hard to describe, but it is a lot of fun. You essentially play on teams up to 5, And you go in all these different rooms and there's all these different games and different levels you can play. But it is, again, working together and just having a good time. So that's definitely on my list of doing this year or this summer. And to go back to your question of just real fun and true fun and fun, I think you want to do things that are really fun to you. So those things that really energize you, light you up, fuel you so that you can take that into other areas of your life. Because like you said, we only have so much time that we want to use it wisely.
I love that. And your summer play plan, that sounds great because that's also a great way to spend some time socially with others. And what a cool way to do some networking too. And I feel like I'm guessing the folks on the opposite end of that invitation are also just going to feel like really touched and honored and humbled that they're being invited to this. So I feel like there's multiple benefits to that as a plan idea. So listeners, hopefully you're maybe inspired to think about what is a playful situation where you can craft a really intentional invitation for others. Thank you so much, Courtney, for that little inspiration. Listeners, to learn more about the work that this PlaySpurt does, please head on over to the show notes and maybe consider if you like that idea of having somebody come in, offer their expertise to have your landscape, your environment be made a little more playful. Courtney would be a great person to reach out to. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.